Welcome back to 556 Media. I'm here in the mountains of Western Maryland, and I am going to do my first metal detecting hunt. So let's get into it. So for today's hunt, we're using the T36 aluminum space modulator. Trying this out for the first time. Let's see what happens. All right, let's get into the hunt. I got to turn it on first. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we can find. We're in an old battlefield, so you never know. Oh, what was that? What was that? Probably an ale. I don't care. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I don't care about that stuff. All right, we keep going. Yeah, more trash, I'm sure. I'm not even going to spend time digging this stuff up. It could be just, trash, like pull tabs and beer cans and nails or, Civil War bullets, stuff like that. Stuff I don't even need to worry about. Ooh, that's a good signal. That's a good signal. That's an awesome signal. Hold on, let me check this out. Yeah, that's amazing. I just found a rifle on the surface. Let me get my shovel and we'll get this out of here. Welcome back to 556 Media. You are looking at a real World War I era that actually served a little bit in World War II. Not much, but a little bit. 1917 Spandau Mauser WWII. Yes. And my grandfather brought this home at the end of World War II from Berlin. He was a colonel in the army. He was in Berlin at the end of the war, got some bring back items, some trophies, if you will, and this was one of them. And one thing you'll notice, it is not duffel cut. He, as an officer, I guess, he was able to bring this home completely intact. So yes, 1917 Spandau Mauser Gewehr 98, directly from Germany. He actually gave this to me when I was a kid. So as I said, primarily these were manufactured late 1800s, I think 1898 up until 1918, primarily used during World War I. However, the German army did use some of these in World War II, particularly the beginning of World War II, as they were manufacturing different variants of the GEW98, which were called the K98 series. This is just an old version of a Mauser. This thing is huge. It's long. This is a long rifle. And can you imagine having to carry this into combat in trench warfare? And then in World War II, both trenches and urban warfare? I couldn't. But that's what they did. At least some of these made it into World War II. Not many. This model of Mauser, the GEW98, and that's short GEW98 in English, and they're stamped, and I'll include as many photos as I can up close of the stampings on this rifle. Chambered in 8mm Mauser. They have a 5-round internal box mag. You can see the screws there. There's no detachable mag. You would open the bolt, and you would have a stripper clip. Yes, a clip, not a magazine, a clip of 5 rounds of 8mm Mauser. It was actually 7.92 by whatever, but they called it 8mm Mauser. You'd open up the bolt, feed the rounds in through the stripper clip, and be in business. One cool thing to note, between 1898 through World War II, or into World War II, when they were manufacturing these Mauser rifles, both this GEW98 until when the different series of the K98 models. There were, I believe, over 9 million manufactured at different factories, whether they were factories in Germany or arms factories that were taken over by the German army in different countries at the time. But over 9 million Mauser variants were manufactured. It's also important to note that after the war, particularly in the 50s and 60s, a lot of Mausers were, they call them sporterized in the firearms world, meaning they took them from their original military manufacturing condition like this one, and they cut barrels down, they got rid of these stocks, they put on custom stocks, they changed up the bolt, things like that. So they actually took an actual military weapon of war, sold them into the civilian market, and then they were butchered for hunting purposes, sportsman target shooting purposes, things like that. But yeah, so there were over 900 million of these Mauser rifles in different variants manufactured. So pretty easy to find. So you can go look one up. So I'll do a little disassembly. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but first I'm going to tell you, generally speaking, the effective range, depending on the year and model of this Mauser variant, was roughly between 500 yards with iron sights, and we'll go over that in a second, and then somewhere around, they say 800 yards if it was scoped, basically when they turn these into a sniper rifle. And remember, if you don't know anything about guns, the longer the barrel, the greater distance, velocity, and things like that you get. Iron sights are more difficult to use at longer range. Scoped rifles have to be basically dialed in. Ask your friendly neighborhood sniper, they'll explain it all to you. I don't have time or energy for that. So what they have here on the older models of the Mauser, the GEW98s, is they call them the roller coaster rear sights. And you can see, sort of, if my glove doesn't get away, you hold these two buttons on either side. The sight raises or lowers depending on your distance that you need to shoot, and it lines up with the front sight. And it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a good concept. However, in battlefield conditions, apparently it wasn't the best. But that's a roller coaster sight, the nickname for it. But and it's well marked along. You can see ridges, and there's actually numbers that don't really come up on camera very well. But you adjust the sight by squeezing in the buttons. You can see them, buttons on both sides. You push forward for longer ranges, and you push back for shorter ranges. It's pretty good concept, but just wasn't that effective. One key thing to note on this particular GEW98, you will note it's missing its cleaning rod. The hole for it's right there underneath the bayonet lug. And this piece here, right here, this railed piece, and this little hook here, they would be used to hold a bayonet. And those bayonets back then were huge. Nothing like modern bayonets, but that's a bayonet rail and a bayonet attachment right there. So basically we call it a bayonet lug, but that's what they attach them. So one thing that's indicative of a Mauser action is this flag safety, they call it. That's actually a nickname for it, but we call it a flag safety. It's attached to the bolt, the firing control group, things like that. But you have to actually have the bolt worked or round in the chamber. It's a safety, and maybe also in modern times we consider it a loaded round indicator. But I've already worked the action as if I loaded a round, and all you need to do is on the left side here, you're just ready to fire. Flip it up, you are unsafe. It will not fire. And so that's basically the bolt flag that they use. Push it down. If I can do that with one hand. Yep, push it down. Oops, bolt came undone. Let's get that down. Push the flag safety down. loaded round indicator down, bolts back in, and guess what? Fires. So on a Mauser, they call this a flag safety, or flag safety loaded round indicator. Good to know. Let me pull out the bolt real quick. So as I said, I'm getting a little assistance from Mrs. Smith here, but I'm going to show you how you remove the bolt from this 1970 Mauser WWII. So first thing you do is bolt action up. There's a little slide lever here, left-hand side of the action. Pull that out. Oh my God, we got the bolt. We got the bolt carrier group, basically is what it is. So we have that out. To put it back in, it's the exact opposite operation. Start the bolt in, pull the lever out, push it forward, and boom, back in business. And here's a better view of the chamber indicator, the flag right here, the safety. There you go. Up is safe, down to the left is fire. So here's a better view of the roller coaster rear sight. Again, both buttons on the side, push them both in respectively. Move it forward, long range. Move it back, shorter range. That's my understanding anyway, but yeah, that's how it works. That's how you adjust the rear sight. Push both buttons in, and the roller coaster goes up and down. So basically, as I previously stated, this takes 8mm Mauser rounds, 7.92 by whatever, what they call it, 8mm Mauser. And how this is loaded, it actually uses a 5-round clip, not a magazine. So you open the bolt, bring it back, see this little springy thing. You take your stripper clip, see this little notch here, put your stripper clip in there. The soldier would push down the 5 rounds, the stripper clip would pop out, load the first round in the chamber. They're ready to go. So I will say this is the original wood stock. My grandfather never did anything with it. I never did anything with it. Same with all the hardware. Everything is original as it came back from Germany. Yes, it's dinged up a little bit here and there, scratches, but this was a combat rifle from World War I and may have been used in early part of World War II. So you kind of expect that. I have disassembled parts of this. I have not ruined anything on it. It is still a functional rifle, so just remember that. If you want to find out further information about it, check it out. Just look online for 1917 Spandau manufactured Mauser WWII, and it's GEW. The Germans pronounce it with a V. At least that's according to my wife, who's German. So anyway, I'll add as many photos as I can at the end of this video so you can get close-ups of numbers and things like that. But yeah, thanks for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and catch you on the next one. Boop!